Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Today, I want to take a look at a number of articles, and it speaks to the situation in Israel with Russia, Iran. Where are they? What are they doing? What are their aspirations? And this is an article from Debka.com. Debka file, military intelligence source. Moscow and Tehran prepare to arm Hezbollah, including Iranian air defense missiles. So Moscow and Tehran are now acting more so than ever in cooperation to build up military forces in Syria. So this is an interesting situation here. It says Iran's foreign minister Zarif pointedly visited Beirut on Monday, February 11th, the day of the Islamic Revolution's 40th anniversary, to highlight the length and breadth of its reach, even under U.S. sanctions, it says, threats and Israeli bombardment. It says, like Moscow, Tehran has shifted its focus to the quest for a foothold in Lebanon to consolidate their success in preserving the next door Assad regime in Damascus. Both have designated the Shiite Hezbollah terrorist organizations as their main channel of influence in Beirut. It says, except that Russian foreign minister who visited Jerusalem last week for talks with Prime Minister Netanyahu insisted on Sunday, February 11th, that Hezbollah is not a terrorist group, but a positive force for stability in the Middle East. Talking on both sides of their mouth, and definitely not disagreeing, though, that they're arming Hezbollah and really increasing the military in terms of the proxy war there, in terms of arming terrorists, etc., in the area. So that's an interesting situation. And again, Moscow and Tehran, they're kind of the two big players in Ezekiel 38 as these countries build up war. I mean, what else are they doing? They are literally building up weapons on Israel's doorstep for the future war. I don't know what else you would call this. This is what's happening. This is what they're doing, and this is what Ezekiel 38 and 39 describe. Rouhani. This is the Iranian leader. Rouhani says Iran to continue expanding its military might. It says, we have not asked and will not ask for permission to develop different types of missiles, and we will continue our path and our military power. So Iran's not bowing to any sanctions or any U.S. pressure, etc., to slow down its creation of weapons. And this is the situation going on in Iran. Iranian President Rouhani said Monday Iran was determined to expand its military power and ballistic missile program despite mounting pressure from hostile countries. It says, we will not ask permission. Rouhani also vowed to defeat U.S. sanctions reimposed after President Donald Trump withdrew from Tehran's nuclear accord. The Iranian people have and will have some economic difficulties, but we will overcome by helping each other, Rouhani said. So again, if you thought Iran was a democratic nation, interested in peace, etc., you'd be wrong. And they're as fast as they can, they're trying to convince Russia to go to war against Israel. And now we see it. There's cooperation between Moscow and Iran to build up forces in Syria, which again will be eventually, and I think shortly, used to go against Israel. One last article, which I think is interesting, it's from jpost.com. The Mossad, this is the Israeli Secret Intelligence Agency, and MI6, Britain's intelligence agency, of course, they smuggled out an Iranian nuclear scientist to the UK. So they're going to get a lot of secrets on what's happening with the nuclear program, and this could weigh into strategic decisions about whether preemptive strike occurs on Iran by Israel, etc. The Iranian scientist was allegedly involved in the 2012 assassination of Mustafa Ahmadi Rojhan in Tehran and was able to enter the UK using the migrant crises as a cover, reports the Daily Mail. Mossad, British Secret Services, and the CIA extracted Iranian nuclear scientists out of Tehran and provided them with safe haven in the U.S. The Iranian scientist is thought to have been smuggled into the UK on an inflatable boat alongside other Iranian migrants, apparently. The plan is said to have been drawn up in October when the Mossad helped 47-year-old technician escape to Turkey. And again, they're obviously going to be looking for a ton of intelligence from this. So it's an interesting situation there, and what are they going to learn from this? We don't know. But it says, Once in the UK, the man was questioned about the current status of Iranian nuclear program and flown to the U.S. The scientist reportedly also helped with the 2012 assassination of another Iranian nuclear scientist. Israel is said to have launched a secret operation to dissuade scientists from taking part in the Iranian nuclear program. So interesting. They're not just going and trying to destroy the nuclear program. They're trying a psychological warfare as well and trying to convince the scientists not to help the Iranian government and the Iranian military put together these weapons. So a multi-pronged strategic attack, if you will, or policy attempt at Iran to prevent them from developing nuclear weapons, and it's brilliant. They're also, effectively defending against this by way of cyber attacks and other actions, not to mention preemptive strikes in Syria. And probably even Iran, probably some covert missions there to try and slow down, disable, or otherwise prevent Iran from moving very fast on the nuclear front. So interesting situation going on with these articles, and it's continued information providing an idea, a look inside situation in the Middle East, which leads us to understand that Ezekiel 38 and 39 is a quickly approaching scenario, quickly approaching war, and all sides are arming to the teeth for this. Iran and Russia are cooperating with Syria. This is not even topic of discussion anymore. This is overt. They are arming. They're adding missile systems, defensive systems, and offensive systems in terms of arming Hezbollah and terrorist groups there. And you have Iran, consistent and stated goal of wiping Israel off the map and continuing their missile programs. And you have Israel, on the other hand, doing all they can and using all methods to try to prevent and try to stave off and hold off and push out the existential threat that is Iran, effectively. But we know how this ends. We know it ends by Russia, Iran, Turkey, the alliance in Gog Magog, marching on Israel to take a spoil, and that's part of why Russia's going down there, to take a spoil. It says take a spoil and a prey. Iran's going for the prey, and Russia's going for the spoil in the economic resources, the oil, natural gas, etc. And this is a war that's coming upon us shortly. So again, interesting stuff in the news. If you're a watcher, these are the sorts of articles that you look at and you say, what does this mean in terms of Bible prophecy? How does this show us that the situation is moving along? Not only that, but we also had the one world religion, which I think I spoke of. Was that the video I did Friday about the Pope meeting with the Imam, the Islamic leader of the Muslim world, of the Islamic world, if you will, and basically come to an agreement. And we know in the last days that there will be a false prophet and a one world leader, and the false religion that comes out of this. So all these things are progressing, converging towards anti-Bible prophecy and some of these big prophetic wars that are going to come, and pointing us towards the closeness of the 7-year tribulation as well, as we have all these things in progress. So guys, I'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.